So Libbok is being linked with a move away from the Stormers, and I think that this is a great thing for South Africa Rugby. Stormers currently have lots of fly-half options when they're all fit. They've got Libbok, they've got Sacha Zulu, they've got Damian Willemse, who is an option at 10. Then they've got the likes of Yuri Matia, and so. And the reason that Damian Willemse becomes very much a 10 option is the presence of watchalongs at fullback. You've got Dan Duplessis at inside centre. Sacha Zulu can also play inside centre. So they've got lots of options. As a result, there's been a bit of a growing concern and a bit of murmuring around the country at the lack of Sacha Zulu actually playing flower half. He did start there over the weekend. They did win, but it's a bit of an embarrassment of riches in that particular position. And from a South African perspective, we want to see our Springbok flower halves playing as much as possible and not necessarily competing against each other. You know, even that sort of move that Jordan Henderson to Sharks with Siya Masuku, he's starting to play a bit better than Siya Masuku, but there was a bit of a worry about, well, he's playing week in, week out at the Lions. Why would he then make the move? And he's not going to get opportunities at the Sharks, which he has gotten, but a lot of fullback as well, which I suppose has actually worked quite nicely. Now, in terms of where Libbok goes, you know, there was reports about him potentially going to Leicester Tigers, you know, replacing Andre Pollard. He's previously been a target for Racing, but apparently there's no offers on the table for him in Europe. Apparently there's no offers for him in top 14, the Premiership, or other URC teams. So the big sort of offer, and I think this is quite a nice idea for him, is to go to Japan on a sabbatical. Now, where this works nicely is that, first of all, you can go earn a bit of money. You know, you can go and earn some money in Japan. You'll still be on the block radar, but obviously frees up some opportunities for Sacha Zulu to then play at 10. He apparently wants to stay and see out his contract, which at this stage expires 2027. I think this is where, you know, you don't want SA be stepping in all the time on these different issues. But you kind of look at him and think, go to the Lions. You know, it's exactly the type of player the Lions want and need. And it would then mean that within South Africa, you've got Jordan Hendricks starting at 10 for the Sharks. You've got Sacha Zulu starting at 10 for the Stormers. You've got Libbok starting at 10 for the Lions. And you have 100 Power starting at 10 for the Bulls. Those are your four flowers for the next World Cup. And then you've still got a Siya Masuku who will try and put pressure. You've got somebody like a Johnny Lombard who's coming through quite well, I think, at the moment. But you've got your four top flower options playing within this country against each other and consistently in front of our coaches, where they can go to games and they can go view and the likes of that. And they've got more control over when they get rested, when they get rotated. So, I mean, it's a move that I would love to have. It's never going to happen, but it's a move where you'd love to almost see SA Rugby going to the line and saying, right, what can we do here? You know, we want to get game time. You know, he's a pony player, so we contribute toward the salary. What can we get this done? But at this stage, it looks like he's most likely to go to Japan, but he will then come back. Now, the thing with John Dobson is that he kind of sort of wished upon himself, because he sort of sat there saying you almost kind of want an injury to make your selection issue as headaches easier in terms of having Sacha, Damian, Warwick, obviously Marnie, Dan Duplessis, you know, so many different options to, you know, Slayman Hartzenberg. And then he got what he bargained for with all of them getting injured and Yuri Matia having to play 10 for the last few months because they just had no other options. So kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation in terms of having all the players, but then you've kind of got selection issues, but then they all get injured if you don't. But at the end of the day, we need these guys playing as much as possible from a Springbok perspective. We need Libbok playing as much as possible, playing good rugby, being confident. And if he suddenly starts benching for Sacha Zulu and doesn't get a lot of game time, that's detrimental to the box. That's detrimental to him as well. I think the Stormers play their best rugby when he starts for them at 10. I think he really suits them. Not to say that they don't do it with Sacha Zulu, but you understand why they're very happy for Sacha to play at 12, for example, and have Marnie at 10, because of the way they can kind of operate together. A lot of people say they don't want to see Sacha at 12, especially now that he's had a couple of impact injuries, you know, running into Asnati and Tlabakanye, running into the prop this past weekend. He's got a bit of a habit of seeking a physicality point of view, which has led to a few injuries. And you don't want him to now start avoiding contact. But that's kind of become the issue when you're playing at centre, is that you are in a very high physical situation. You have to do a lot of that kind of defensive work. But interesting times, see what Libbok does do and what the kind of impact that's going to have on the Stormers themselves as they try and manage so many different players in very similar positions.